Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful?
Hello again. I thought I'd strike while the momentum is there and see if I can't record and post another video. First, I'd like to just say thank you to all of the people that watched and liked that last video that I did, and particularly to those that left really lovely comments. When I watched that video back, I noticed that quite apart from the fact that I really ought to have brushed my hair and worn a better shirt, I was probably a bit more vulnerable in that video than I typically am. And so for it to get the views that it did, and especially to get those comments, which all of which were really gentle and kind and full of goodwill, that felt really very nice. So thank you for that. What I realized also though is that while I was talking about my anxiety around bushfire and wildfire and the like, I didn't actually go on to explain what we do here to mitigate and sort of manage that risk. And there are definitely things that we do, and I think it is worthwhile if I sort of share them with you, which is what I'll do now. You could say there are 4 things probably that we have tried to do here over the years that we've had this place to manage bushfire risk. Number 1 is that we remove and maintain the eucalyptus that we have in this area, which is about 3/4 of an acre. 2, we pick sticks and rake leaves from around the base of the trees. 3 is burning off all of the sort of debris, sticks, leaves that we collect. And 4, I think, which pertains to the property generally, is maintain the grass. And that is largely a function now that is handled by the sheep. In fact, the reason why we eat the sheep in the first place, because we're on 4.2 acres here, and when we purchased the place and before we had the sheep, we realized that actually we couldn't keep on top of the grass. It really does grow on pretty strong, you know, through the late autumn and spring, and then come summer you end up with very dry grass that is particularly fire susceptible. The sheep have done an excellent job in managing that grass as effectively as fuel load. So they're the 4 things. In terms of maintaining the eucalypts, that really involves continuing to thin them out, but also removing low branches where we can. Something like this really should be removed. In terms of thinning the trees, it's really the case of removing those that are still quite thin, that are dead, or that are spaced too closely together. So this one here would be an example. In fact, that tree is dead, so that definitely needs to come out. That'll be easy to bring out. We maybe have not done this as well as we should have over the past couple of years, because it took us a very long time to recover from those COVID years, during which we really could not do anything fire maintenance wise, apart from the bare minimum. So it left us with a lot of excess debris, a lot of catch up to do. But what is also clear to us now is that we should have thinned out this eucalypt woodland considerably more than we did. When we bought it, all of these trees, which are plantation blue gums, by the way, all of these trees were basically at eye level height, or not much higher, such that you couldn't see through to the other side of the woodland. Now, the simple reality is that we were too enamored with the woodland and couldn't bear the idea of taking any of the trees out, because we loved this space. We loved the fact that there was a woodland here, and still do. But had we have removed more of the tree at that much earlier stage, it would have made this job much easier, but we just didn't know. And it's probably also the case that the survival rate of the trees here has been extraordinarily good. Now, it is the case that we definitely still do want to have a woodland. There's no question about that. And we want eucalypts to be the predominant feature of the woodland. What we are going to do, though, is that kind of for every tree we remove, we will replace it with a deciduous tree, which more often than not, in fact almost exclusively, is an exotic tree, a non-native tree. The idea of having these is, yes, to maintain the woodland, so to maintain the number of trees that is here, but to separate or to lessen the fuel load in terms of eucalypts. And so by increasing the diversity, we're hoping that in and of itself reduces the fire risk. As I move through this woodland and start to clear it up, bringing a bunch of leaves around the bases of trees, and these will be burnt off as soon as we can. But once you draw back the eucalypt leaf litter and sort of tree debris, this is kind of what you're left with. There is definitely a soil, and it's not just dirt, dust per se, it really is a soil. It actually looks akin to like a dry sort of potting mix. It's obviously the case that the eucalypt leaf does, over a period of time, break down into sort of smaller components and start to sort of biodegrade back in and become soil. And as you sort of, even now, just as I'm sort of drawing this leaf litter back, what you find is that there are little shoots of grass that are springing up underneath it. Now, we've had no real rain to speak of, so I wouldn't expect this to be shooting grass yet, but it does become quite grassy in here. Less so, I think, now that we run sheep in here all the year through, and as the trees have sort of matured and dropped a bunch more leaf litter. But as I said before, the idea is eventually to continually reduce the number of eucalypts in here, and for every eucalypt we take out, broadly it gets replaced by a European deciduous tree. We don't have many Australian native trees that are truly deciduous. But also, once the sheep are out, probably we would seed this with almost like and probably this would be a native option that we'd go with, seed it with native grasses and perhaps even a native wildflower mix, and broadcast that seed throughout here at about this time of year, with the idea that as the autumn rains come in you start to germinate a whole bunch more diversity in terms of the plant and grasses that are growing here. So I can see even more here now. Now the sheep will come in here and eat this straight away. And you can even see mosses growing underneath this leaf litter. So yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like once it's all raked up. And this is what it looks like beforehand. So you can see that this is going to prevent a lot of grasses from growing, but from a fire risk perspective, if fire got into here amongst all this really dry leaf litter, it's just going to run across the ground. We're into autumn now, so the plan is that within the next sort of month or so, we get in here and we start to burn off this leaf litter, which then becomes more nutrients that are available for the soil in this woodland. And I'm actually very much thinking of bringing or asking a member of our local fire brigade to come in here and basically just give us some pointers on how best to manage this woodland from a fire perspective. But I'm also thinking of it from a broader ecological perspective as well, because I really think this woodland does provide, does play an important function in the sort of overall mix of the 4 acres that we've got here. So I definitely want to preserve it, but it's about sort of preserving it in a way that is conducive to us living here safely and conducive to the safety of the people that are around us, good for the sort of the wildlife that come in here and use the place, and also from a productive point of view in terms of food and flowers and water that can be harvested, so that it's a productive space generally.